Hello students, today we will study the chapter Reorganizing Administration in the Countryside. When the British came to India, villages were self-sufficient units. The people of India produced many things on which they mainly dependent upon. Most of the products were produced in the village itself. Every village had a panchayat to settle disputes. The farmers had the right over the land which they cultivated during the time of disasters. When East India Company came to India, they obtained the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. In 1765, they continued to collect the revenues in traditional method by the company officials. The officials started collecting huge amounts from the farmers unofficially. When income got reduced, Warren Hastings introduced a system called Izdadari system, by which the biggest bidder was given the right to collect revenue for a period of 5 years. This system failed because the bidders were not interested in the improvement of land but started collecting money from the peasants. Since the collection of tax was a big problem of the company, so they introduced three new systems: permanent settlement, Mahalwari system, and Rotwari system. So, first is we will study about the permanent settlement. Permanent settlement. It was Lord Cornwallis who introduced this in 1793. The landowners or the zamindars obtained the hereditary right over the land. Zamindars could sell their lands and were also given the right to transfer them. Zamindars acted as the agents of the government. The cultivators became the tenants of the zamindars. The zamindars gave to the government tenth or 11th part of the revenue collected by them from the cultivators. The revenue to be paid by the zamindars was fixed on a permanent basis. The zamindars had to be paid the revenue even if the crops failed for some reason or the other. What were the problems with permanent settlement? First, did not improve the quality of the land. Zamindars did not do anything to improve the quality of land as expected. Revenue was very high. Zamindars themselves had to pay a very high revenue to the British on time, irrespective of whether the crops failed or not. Peasants were often forced to take loans from money lenders. They were forced to take loans from money lenders to pay to the zamindars. If they failed to pay the rent that was due, they were often forced to give up the land. Amount of tax that the peasants had to pay to the zamindars was not fixed. Zamindars tried to extract as much rent from the peasants as possible. So this ensured that after paying revenue to the English East India Company, they were left with a larger share for themselves. What was the impact on farmers? Farmers were forced to cultivate indigo and cotton. In order to get more and more revenue, the farmers were forced to cultivate cash crops like indigo and cotton instead of rice and wheat. Peasants were oppressed. The peasants were socially oppressed and exploited for more revenue. Method of cultivation was primitive. Method of cultivation was primitive, was old, and efforts were made for improvement of land and techniques. Now, next is Mehalwari system. This is another system of tax collection. It was introduced by Holt Mackenzie in 1822 in states like Uttar Pradesh, in parts of Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. Mahal means village. In these areas, land was commonly owned by group of villages known as called Mahal. This system of revenue settlement was known as the Mahalwari system. Mahalwari settlement. The task of collecting revenue and paying it to the company was assigned to the headman of each Mahal. As far as the revenue demand was concerned, it was to be revised periodically. The village headmen were invested with the responsibility of collecting revenue instead of the zamindar. Next is the Rotwari system or Munro system. The British adopted a new method of land revenue in South and South Western India. Rotwari system. Ryot. This word Ryot means cultivator, and it was introduced by Thomas Munro and Captain Reed. Because there were no zamindars with big land in the south portion, so the introduction of zamindari system, that is permanent settlement, would upset the whole mechanism. They started a new system known as a rotwari system in the south and southwestern part of India. The cultivators were made the owners of land and were given the responsibility of paying land revenue to the company. Land revenue was collected directly from them, and around half of the produce was taken as revenue, and it was settled for a period of 30 years. The high rate of revenue made them dependent on money lenders. Two-thirds of the Madras presidency was covered under the Rotwari system. Next is demand for Indian indigo. Good climatic conditions, good quality in Italy, France, and Britain. By the 18th century, British had captured almost the entire of India, and East India Company tried to increase production of opium and indigo in India. So they forced the cultivators of various parts of India to produce cash crops beneficial for the English trade. So this included jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in United Province like Uttar Pradesh, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra, and so on. British used different methods to increase cultivation of these crops. One of the reasons for selecting India for growing indigo was its climatic condition. Indigo plantation required a tropical climate which was available in India. The indigo grown here had been used by the European cloth manufacturers in Italy, France, and Britain for dyeing since 13th century. Due to its good quality, Indian indigo was sold at very high price in European market, but its production was less and was very small quantities of indigo reached the European markets. Next is indigo cultivation in India. As the English East India Company started encouraging the cultivation of indigo to meet the demands of the European market, many commercial agents and officials of the company turned into indigo planters to profit from the development. The government advanced loans to these planters to encourage the production of indigo. So there were two main systems of indigo cultivation which came up at this time: Nij system and Rayoti system. First is Nij system. Under this system of cultivation, British and European planters cultivated indigo on land which was directly under their control. They needed large areas of land to grow enough indigo, so they often rented land from other zamindars as well. Large labor force and farming implements were needed. Another problem was this: large labor force and farming implements were needed to work on these plantations. Such a huge labor force and so many farming implements were not available to indigo planters, as they were very mostly employed on the rice fields around the same time. The area under indigo cultivation could not be expanded easily. This was the biggest drawback of this niche system. Indigo crop needed the most fertile of land to grow well, and such land was already under cultivation. Now, next is Rayoti system. Under this system of indigo cultivation, ryots, the cultivators were forced to sign a contract. The ryots or the cultivators, they were forced to sign a contract called Satta, Satta. This contract name was called Satta with the planters. Many a time the village headman was forced to sign the Satta on behalf of the Royals. Cash advances at low interest rate. Cash advances at low rate interest were given to Royals by the planters to produce indigo. While the planters provided the seeds, the peasants had to prepare the soil, grow, and then harvest the indigo crop. After harvest, new loan was given to the Royal. After delivery of the harvest to the planter, new loan was again given to the Royals, and the cycle of indigo plantation would start again. Next is the problems of this Nij system. Cycle of loans never ended. The peasants who were initially lured by the cash loan soon realized they were getting trapped into a loan cycle. Price at which they sold indigo was very low and the cycle of loans never ended. Exhausted the soil. They were forced to grow indigo in the best part of their soil in the field, which exhausted the soil and made it impossible for them to grow food crops to meet their needs. Price Riots received very low. The price that the Riots received for the indigo from the planters were also very low. Blue Rebellion. This Blue Rebellion started in the month of March in 1859. It was the time for harvesting of the crop and sowing the new crop. The Riots of Bengal revolted against their planters and refused to grow indigo. They attacked indigo factories with arms and burnt the factories of the crops. Even women and children joined hands to fight against the planters and zamindars. Those who worked for the planters were boycotted, and the Gomastas, agents of planters, were beaten up. Indigo planters were put into trial and executed. The lives of indigo riots were gradually becoming miserable. They could not grow other crops or perform crop rotation on their soil to improve its fertility. They did not grow any other crop other than indigo. The matter became so critical that the Bengal underwent a great famine because of this cash crop cultivation. Who got involved? Ruat took the support of the British government. So the Royals cannot be compelled to grow indigo and can choose between growing other crops and indigo. The announcement was misconstructed. Rumors spread that Queen Victoria had issued that there is no need for any Royals to grow the crops of indigo. So such announcement by the British officials were taken as support by the government for the cause of this rebellion. Deenbandhu Mitra wrote play Neel Darpan in 1860. Deenbandhu Mitra wrote a play known as Neel Darpan about the exploitation of indigo peasants and the resulting disturbances. The novel played a major role in arousing the spirit of nationalism in India. This play was later translated in English by Madhusudan Dutt, an Indian writer. Aftermath of the revolt. Results of the revolt. Indigo Commission was appointed in 1860. An Indigo Commission was also appointed in 1860, which gave its recommendation in favor of the peasants after conducting that indigo planters had mistreated them. According to this commission, the peasants could cultivate any crop that they wanted on their fields after having fulfilled the existing contract with the indigo planters. Indigo production collapsed in Bengal, but now the planters shifted to Bihar. After the Indigo revolt, the indigo planters shifted their work to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Champran Satyagraha. Indigo cultivators of Champran is in Bihar, were exploited by the European planters. They were bound by law to grow indigo on the 320th Teen Kathia 320th Teen Kathia system of their land and sell it to the British planters at prices fixed by them. They invited Gandhiji to take up their cause, but the district authorities banned his entry into the district. He offered satyagraha, as a result of which an inquiry was conducted into the conditions of the peasants, and this helped in giving them some